as we gather in the chapel here in old Kilmainham jail. I think about these last few weeks. Oh, will they say we failed? From our school days they have told us we must yearn for liberty. Yet all I want in this dark place is to have you here with me. Oh, grace, just hold me in your arms and let this moment linger. They take me out at dawn and I will die. With all my love I place this wedding ring upon your finger. There won't be time to share our love, so we must say.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's great to have so many people here today. We gathered here today on April 24th, exactly 100 years after Pádraig Pearse read the proclamation outside the GPO and declared Ireland a republic. It was 3 days later, on April 27th, that the volunteers of Wexford rose in Enniscorthy with orders to take out the train tracks to prevent British troops reaching Dublin. One of those volunteers was Tom Stokes, and it is he we remember here today. Tom was born in Enniscorthy and educated at the local Christian Brothers School. He lived here on Cathedral Street. He was a member of the men's choir attached to the cathedral. He was a member of the Musical Society and also a member of the Gaelic League. In 1915, when Pádraig Pearse visited Enniscorthy, it was Tom who sang the soldier song in the Barley Field. Tom came from a strong Republican family. His sister Marion was a member of Cumann na mBan, and she was one of the ladies who raised the tricolour over the Apennine on April 27th. After the rising, he was detained in Richmond Barracks, then deported several times in Stafford Jail. While he was in Stafford Jail, his mother became ill, and although he was given temporary release, by the time he got home, she was dead and buried. He was returned to Richmond Barracks, then to Knutsford, and then transferred to Clongowk, where his health began to fail. He was released from Clongowk in December 1916. He returned to Ireland and resumed work, but in July 1917, his health began to fail again, and he died on the 29th of September 1917, aged just 24 years old. He was laid to rest here in the cathedral with full military honours provided by the volunteers. It is Tom and volunteers like him who we remember here today. I now call on Seamus to lay a wreath on his grave, and then I ask for a minute's silence. Thank you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me a great pleasure to ask historian and author, Mr. Cleary, to say a few words.
Of republicanism. Tom Stokes that lies here, God rest him. Tom's father was a veteran member of the IRB. He would have been too young to take part in 1867 Rising, but he was a veteran from an early age, and he and Michael Tobin, Charlie Farrell, and a few others were recognised and respected in the town as from that generation, and it was they who handed on, as Pearse said at O'Donovan Russell's grave, they handed on the torch to a new generation, That connection was through men like Paddy Stokes, Tom's father. It is worth noting in passing that although his life was short, and we're all fated to different lives and different destinies, some are fated to be well known from these great events, but other people who are scarcely known at all gave as much of themselves in proportion, sacrificed as much, showed as much commitment and faith in the future of Ireland as those who are famous as a result and regarded highly in history. And I have great respect for the committee here and for James and his helpers, that they have taken a person who was falling into forgetfulness a little bit, Tom Stokes and his sister Marion. This is a very important thing because this revolution, and it was revolution, belonged to the people. And looking around you here today, it's the people of this great old town of Enniscorthy that are present today. I meant to just mention there in passing that Tom, even though his life was short, James has just mentioned that he sang the soldier's song in the barley field. He had also heard Pierce speak 3 months before at O'Donovan Russ's funeral. He attended it with a number of volunteers from Enniscorthy in uniform. And he would have heard Pierce make the famous speech about while Ireland holds these graves, Ireland unfree will never be at peace. He himself was in the volunteers from 1914. He became a member of the IRB after Pierce's visit to the barley field in September 15. I think that what was happening at the time was that the managers of the rising in Enniscorthy, Seamus, Rafter, and others, that they were making absolutely sure by broadening the recruitment in the IRB that they would retain the confidentiality and secrecy of what was coming 6 months later. Where I'm standing now was actually the home of the grandfather of Tom and Marion. He lived here in the house of the sacristan of the cathedral. This was the sacristan's house here, and that was called Cathedral Place. And right here where the grave is reckoned to be the hearthstone of the former dwelling. He died in 1888, and Marion is a daughter of the old veteran of the IRB, Paddy Stokes, and she was raised in where Dunn Stores is, the building of Dunn Stores is now in Rafter Street. At that time it was George's Street. She is very famous for being one of the 3 women who raised the tricolour in Enniscorthy. Again, that's one of those very special honours that people love to remember. After the rising, she worked in Armstrong's shop up near where Dr. Bowes' surgery used to be. And she worked there till 1928. And then I think maybe even the rising helped her in this direction, but she became very interested in nursing. And she became a very highly qualified nurse. She trained in Kappa in Dublin. And from there she moved to the hospital of Shooter's Hill in London. And she stayed there until 1946. And then she came home and she became matron of the sanatorium in Brownswood, just as the drive to eradicate tuberculosis from the country was getting on their way. It was also the time, of course, when drug streptomycin arrived. lived after that, after her retirement, over the Shubabrogue here in the town. And she's buried just 30 yards from here beside Bishop Cod, just to the right of Bishop Cod's grave. Just to close this public ceremony of remembrance, I am very taken with the slogan of the committee that was set up by the government, which after a difficult and shaky start, I think everyone agreed, they have now produced a wonderful commemoration with the help of the community and the agreement of the community. And their slogan was to remember, which we're doing today, and to reflect, which we're doing today. And we've been doing for some time, and we should continue to do. And then, most importantly, they said, remember, reflect, and reimagine. We need badly to reimagine a fairer Ireland. It's a problem we must face. Inequitable societies across the world are increasingly so. And at the Davos conference now, you have sessions devoted where the managing directors of huge conglomerates are now posing the questions to themselves about their role in this. I'm talking now about huge international companies. That instead now they're starting to talk of the shareholder, that a new group in beside the shareholder, not replacing him, is called a stakeholder. And one stakeholder is the community and the communal health of nations. Because there will be social and political consequences, if not, in the longer term. And we should, therefore, as in our way, at our level, as individuals and as citizens, engage ourselves in the reimagination of what would be a good, practical, working, fair, equitable Ireland. What degree should it be open to all? I mean, the meaning of a republic, as defined by the French in 1789, was that you would be free to do all things so long as your exercise of your rights did not confine or reduce the rights of every other person or any other person. And I think that's where we should start. It's amazing how long-lived great ideas like the idea of the Republic really are. Gonjena di trocare anamnakan na maravilog o mediog shediag. Rinishid eocht sumna tirisha. Agus ma tarudela a wine la raw. Bacor doing tanga na heron an gweilge, a chohu agus a kirkon keen. Agus go sheer agus a bolan a rish. I'll finish with this, ladies and gentlemen, that I believe that there is too much locked up in the ability to use the Irish language for us ever to ignore it. I'm sure that Tom and Marion will be happy that I say that. God rest their souls. We should never forget them. Thank you.
Thanks, Brian. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to call on Mikey to pay Piper's Lament. our second reclaim ceremony to begin about 2 o'clock. Thanks very much.
Now I know it's hard for you, my love, to ever understand the love I bear for this brave man, my love for this brave land. But when Porrick called me to his side down in the GPO, I had to leave my own sick bed. To him I had to go.
How gracious, hold me in your arms and let this moment linger. They take me out at dawn and I will die. With all my love I place this wedding ring upon your finger. There won't be time to share our love, so we will say goodbye. There won't be time to share our love, so we will say goodbye.